Hey guys, back here again with a long overdue video that I've wanted to do on one of my favorite subjects. Hopefully the glare isn't getting to these too bad, but I wanted to go over some of my favorite watches under arguably 500 bucks, maybe with exception of one. I have other watches, Tussauds, Breitlings, Tag Heuers, that I all love, but not everyone needs a dress watch or an otherwise maybe formal or sport watch. Some guys like tactical watches and, watches that are homages to, combat and things like that. So I figured I'd put this video together specifically for that reason, and you guys could get a look at some of the watches that I wear when I'm not, doing something that would require a more formal watch. So I'm going to start out with the most inexpensive and work my way up. I'm going to start out with the Bertucci DX3. This is a poly resin case, so it is glass fiber reinforced. Comes with like a NATO strap. It's a super tough typical NATO strap with your really thick keepers here as well. This thing feels like it's way too souped up for this watch. The nice thing about this watch is it does have the time indicators for what most would call military time. It's not a GMT or anything like that. One of the things, if I could get this to focus, that they do talk about is that it's got a Japanese quartz movement and it's got a Swiss loom. I'm not sure what the Swiss loom really means, if that's supposed to be some sort of sell point, but they do note that. It's kind of nice. It's Swiss loom, Japanese quartz movement. Japanese quartz movements are great. And then of course you've got your crown down here at the 4 o'clock position so it doesn't dig into you. The one thing I will say about this, it's super light. These things are like 60 bucks. You can get them on Amazon. The other nice thing about it is you don't have any springs to deal with. This goes straight through the bars that are built into the case, so there's no spring bars. So essentially, A, if one of these breaks, your watch isn't going to fall off. And B, you can't lose a spring bar. It won't just pop out. So tremendous value for 60 bucks. This is 50 meter water resistance as well. Nothing to write home about. But it is a nice watch. It's easy to read. The loom is fantastic. It doesn't last a super long time. I don't know if it's definitely not like Super Luminova, but it's good. I like it. Again, 60 bucks. Next, I'm going to move into the Deep Blue Professional. This is a super heavy watch. This is and also a quick note on the Bertucci. It's 39 millimeters from one edge of the case to the other. This Deep Blue is a 45 millimeter. It's of course got your valve for the gas escape, and of course you've got a screw down crown with a date window. This I believe is Super Luminova. They use a ceramic dial and a sapphire crystal with what I believe is a Chinese made case. The case back is really nice on this thing. They put a really nice finish on it. The straps that Deep Blue have are really nice. It's not as thick as the Bertucci, but it's a NATO strap. It's not super thick, but it's enough to support the watch. And this thing is heavy. Oh my God, is it heavy. It's got a 300 meter water resistance. This is an automatic. It has a Seiko I forget the number, but it's the more popular lower end Seiko automatic movement with a power reserve of 48 hours. Of course, you've got the diver dial indices over here. It is a single direction dial made for diving, right? So you can set your 15-minute intervals. And like I said, the loom is really good on this thing. They use a Seiko movement. You really cannot go wrong with this watch. They make these in all types of finishes. This is actually the same case that a lot of other micro tactical brand watchmakers are using. I have seen this exact case on $1,000 watches. Of course, the case back is different, but there's a lot of folks passing these things off at much higher prices. And if you're going to get something that looks like this, get a deep blue. There's been other YouTubers that have reviewed these that have actually dove with them and have been happy with them. I love this thing. I don't wear it as often as I should, but for the $300 price point, which typically you can get knocked down to $170 or $150 with a coupon code, this is an absolute steal of a watch, especially with this movement that it has. Fantastic lume, sapphire crystal, ceramic bezel, a decent strap. It does have spring bars, but you know, not a big deal. And good water resistance. You could actually dive with this watch. And it's got a date window. You know, it doesn't really get much better than that for the price. Next, we're going to venture into a more, I guess, tactical watch. You know, lots of rubber, lots of plastic. This is the Casio PAG240. I have had this watch for, 13, 14 years now. It is a 10 bar water resistance, which comes out to around 100 meters. It's not a dive watch. This would be a hiking watch if I were to characterize it most accurately. It is solar powered, so you do have to make sure you get this thing in the light. It has went dead on me before, and I've revived it. It's got a really nice nightlight feature. It's like a green, I hate to say it, but it's like a tactical green, like a night vision green. It does have a rotating bezel where you can adjust your compass. It does have, like I said, a built-in compass, but you could adjust this to north if you wanted to. It also has a built-in barometer, altimeter, and it also has multiple time zones. So if you need something like this, it's huge. It does wear very large on the wrist, and I have big arms. This thing, I don't know, it's probably like 46 millimeters or something like that. It'll get in the way, but it's great, man. This thing is just so tough. It's also got a thermometer. Really nice case back on these. They protect it well. They put screws in here with a case that goes over the case back. You can see the Pathfinder logo. And the strap is, you know, this one's beaten down from hiking and shooting and all kinds of cool stuff, but the straps are just absolutely insanely durable, with these comfort guards here, and these go in by screw. I've never had anything go wrong with this watch. These things I still think run from $200 to $250. Maybe they're cheaper now. Newer versions might be more expensive, but this was one of the original good versions that came out, and the price hasn't changed that much. This is a go-to hiking, hunting watch, because this thing just doesn't die, and it runs on solar, which is even better. So if you're interested in one of these, you know, check them out. PAG240, multiple time zones, barometer, altimeter, thermometer, compass. Wicked cool watch. Following that is a less tactical watch and more of a practical watch, no pun intended. It is probably the sexiest watch out of all these. It is the, in very busy dial, the Seiko Flighty, the Flightmaster, and I have a aftermarket strap on this thing. This is a flight themed watch, an aviation themed watch, for a good reason, because you can actually do some of the calculations that your certified flight instructor might ask you for with this watch. You can calculate, and maybe I'll quickly demonstrate, using logarithms and 10, you can calculate multiplication, division, you can do square root. It has a date window. It is water resistant up to 200 meters, which isn't bad for a flight watch. It's not designed to be super water resistant. It's got a pretty standard case back. This is not an automatic. This is a quartz. They say that the battery lasts, I believe, 3 years. It's got pretty decent lume on the hour markings and on the hands. This is a bi-directional crown. You'll need that when you're using the slide rule. And maybe I can just demonstrate some quick math. So, for example, if you wanted to do, let's say, 60 divided by 30, we'll slide the 60, and I know this is super small, over the 30 on the inside. So there's 30, there's 60, 30, 60. And then if you go over to the 10, because everything is based on logarithms, you'll get your answer. And of course, lo and behold, there's the 10 and there's 20. 60 divided by 30 is 2, right? So super easy to do division as well, but I won't go through all of that in this video. Maybe I'll make a separate video on all the calculations you can do. You can convert nautical miles to statute miles, knots to miles per hour, liters to gallons, feet to miles, feet to nautical miles, or you know, oil required gallons, like all kinds of cool stuff that would be flight related. And I love this watch. I actually took it up in Cessna 2 weeks ago. Didn't use it, but it was an homage to when folks actually use these for flying. And I believe these things are still running, these Seikos are still running about 250 bucks. Maybe a little bit cheaper, but about 250 bucks. And last but not least, this is a watch you probably see me in most. This is the Marathon Tsar. This is the quartz version, the US government version. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what these actually cost these days. I'd assume they're between $750 and $1,000. They have a date window. They do have the tritium tubes, so that's why you'll see the little Nuclear Regulatory Commission stamp here. Like I said, this is the US government version, so you'll see the US government marking there. These things are good up to 300 meters of water resistance. This is a quote-unquote dive watch. They have a deep dish design where the dial actually shows a lot smaller than what you get from the edges, because I believe this is a 40 or 42 millimeter. By the way, the Flighty, I believe, is 42 millimeter as well, maybe 40, but either way, this thing, it looks a lot smaller than it is, but it's mainly because this is a you know, like I said, a deep dish design where it's kind of in there, about a centimeter. And super cool watch. It is ISO 6425 certified, which means that it has went through the rigor of the International Standards Organization for diving watches in order to be certified under whatever management system program that Marathon has to certify their watches. This is Swiss made, and it's also worth noting that along with the ISO certification on the back, you'll find other notes such as the, you know, GSA schedule cage code for, you know, when they sell these to the US government. You'll see the military spec that it's built to, the National Nuclear Regulatory Commission ID number, and of course the serial number. So excellent watch. This has a rubber strap on it. It's nothing to write home about on the strap, but hey, it works, it's functional, and it's great. And really, like I said, you know, for around 750 to 1,000, 250, you know, roughly 150 to 200, 220 to 250 and 60 bucks. Even if you have really nice watches, these fill a nice void for almost any outdoor activity that you'll go through. And they're really neat watches. They have cool functions, they're practical, and they look nice. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and enjoy.